Hello and welcome to the forecast for September 29th until October 5th. My name is Desiree de Lunae, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer. My apologies for the delay. As you can hear, I have been horribly ill for a while, so this is coming a day late. But still, we got to do this because it's always helpful to know what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And if you love this kind of content, please do subscribe and share away. Hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is up. It really helps to support me and the channel and get this information out there. Okay, so we are going to still talk about Monday because there are some transits here that will hang around throughout the week, even if you're watching this after Monday is done. But on Monday, September 29th, we have our sun fully in Libra season now. So welcome fall, here we are. And Libra is a very gentle, calm sign. I mean, definitely very social, but it is seeking peace. It is seeking harmony. It is seeking symmetry and balance. And so we're not here like obsessively cleaning and organizing things like we did with the Virgo season. But here it is about connecting into what's beautiful. Beautification is a very big theme, whether it's yourself or your space or your work, like really just bringing a lot more harmony and beauty into our lives. And we also have Mercury here too. So Mercury is sharing this sign with the sun. And this impacts our communication and how we are interacting with others, which is wonderful because here we're looking for balance. We're looking to hear everybody's side and listening actually. Like Mercury and Libra listens well. So it yes, loves to speak, but it also likes to hear others out. So we're in a space right now where we're here to listen rather than just talk to and talk at. So here are some of the aspects that we're going to be dealing with. Now, Sun on this day especially does have an aspect to Neptune and has an opposition to Neptune. Now, Neptune can bring some cloudiness and some confusion and nebulousness. So if Monday, like, if you don't start this week feeling like, I know exactly what I'm going to do this week, as normal, that Neptune can make things a bit blurry and our ideas and our plans a little bit blurry, which then can accentuate one of the difficult aspects of Libra is indecisiveness. So if you're not quite sure where things are at and where things are headed on Monday, this will clear out actually just by Tuesday. So let Monday do its thing here, okay? Now we've got also a trine, though. I really love this grand trine. We've had it for the past few days. We had it last week, and we're at, I believe it's here till Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday, we have this grand trine between the sun, Uranus, and Pluto. And this does actually bring a lot of change, transformation, and evolution to the sun. And what is the sun? Like, sun is where our energy is. It's where we have our sense of purpose and our identity to a certain degree. So if you've been feeling that internal like rumbling of shifting your purpose, shifting your identity, the Pluto and Uranus have really been accelerating this. And then it's really a kite pattern because then you also have that mini grand trine between Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune as well. So Neptune does represent our visions. So our visions, our purpose, our plans for our lives, like really have gone through a complete reinvention recently. This whole year has been a lot about that. But the sun has been super plugged into these outer planets in that way. And like I said, you'll still feel that all the way into Tuesday. So a lot of breakthroughs, personal breakthroughs that we're going through, even in our self-expression as well. Okay, now with Mercury, we do have a square to Jupiter, and that can expand our communication and connection. So if you're finding yourself wanting to talk with a lot of people and connect with a lot of people, that is completely normal. We're going to be having this square for the rest of the week. One of the things we just want to make sure is over exaggeration. Sometimes Jupiter squares to Mercury can do that. Just make sure that you say what you mean and not over promise as well, because that can definitely be a symptom here of Jupiter square Mercury. Now, we do have the moon in Capricorn, though, right down here at the bottom. And Capricorn is a very grounded earth energy. So it has a more serious tone as well. And we also find that we're wanting to take care of our responsibilities. We're wanting to be disciplined. We're wanting to have more structure because that's the nature of Capricorn. It likes commitment, it likes discipline, it likes to take care of responsibilities. So you start the week off, it's there until I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday, where it's okay, I just got to take care of what really matters right now and things that are very practical, needs attention. And there is a square. It's a first quarter moon around this time on Monday. And first quarter moons are about crisis of action. Okay, like what action do I need to take? What actions do I need to take right now that are very important? That is taking care of, again, the most important matters. We also have this square to Neptune, which adds to the complexity of the cloudedness and the confusion. So we want to take action and we're going to take action, but there is this layer of fog that is impacting both the sun and the moon. So you're just going to have to go slow and sort and sift through what is nebulous to you. And again, this will pass though, because by Tuesday, the sun is out of that opposition with Neptune and the moon moves really fast. So by Tuesday, that'll be gone too. But we just have this little layer of cloudiness that we're going to have to contend with on Monday. Okay. But this moon does have a sextile to Mars. So I would say this could be something that really supports you and help you out. So just tune into Mars because Mars is super strong. Mars is in Scorpio. Mars represents our drive, our actions, our willpower, our passion, our vitality too. It's a very young planet. And if it's talking to the moon, we're going to want to take action on, again, these very responsible, practical matters. And Mars rules Scorpio, so Mars is super strong. And so my hope is that this Mars can overcome this cloudiness that we're getting from Neptune. Because like I said, Neptune is having some annoying conversations with our sun and moon, with the luminaries. So hopefully Mars really kicks in here. And another reason why it might really kick in is that we have had this square to Pluto, this Mars and Pluto over here in a square. And it's going to ease up. Let me see if it eases up. Yeah, it eases up by Tuesday. So thankfully, Monday, this is the last day of this because this has been a brutal transit. I have wanted to do so many videos, like short videos on Mars square Pluto this past week because it's a very intense, explosive, aggressive, almost violent type of energy that comes from this. And my body went to war that whole time. And I was physically feeling the Mars square Pluto and I was unable to function. But this is the last day of Mars square Pluto. So that volatile, aggressive energy that has been flying around for a bit, which you can clearly see on the news with all of these acts of violence, thankfully, by Tuesday, that lets up and we're freed from that. We're released from that. So let's go to Tuesday. Now, Tuesday, I just have one thing to mention. Moon has a nice trine to Venus. So Moon and Venus are both in Earth signs. So this is about really supporting nurturing, taking care of our loved ones, but doing it in such a way that is very practical. Hey, let me do your laundry for you. Let me fold your laundry for you. Let me make you a meal. So it's they're not like grand gestures. They are just like your everyday little acts of service to show someone that you really care for them. It's about making practical decisions when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to even our money, because Venus represents money, as well as our creative work. And this can create also a drive to beautify your environment, and that also being an act of love. I think beautification is going to be a big theme here for Tuesday, especially with the sun being in Libra. Okay, so on Wednesday, we have Moon just getting buddy with Pluto. Is coming up around the corner. Moon is still in Capricorn, but Moon next to Pluto does reveal a lot of the more hidden things. And sometimes the things we try to suppress and deny or avoid, right? They really are. It's like the big pimple that is about to burst. Like it's commanding attention. So it is usually a really good time for any kind of deeper healing work, emotional, spiritual work, shadow work, absolutely. And it also has a square to Mercury. So here there could be some tension in communication, maybe some misunderstandings. So and this also could be harder just to express oneself because you may be feeling quite a bit from the moon and Pluto, but the square to Mercury might make it a little challenging to find the words to express and explain what it is that we are sensing and feeling. That's a little struggle we may be dealing with in terms of our communication. We do have the moon in a sextile to Saturn, so I like that because Saturn rules Capricorn. So this is going to provide at least some grounding feature, some stability somehow. Because sometimes when it's talking to Pluto, when Moon's talking to Pluto, it can be very disruptive and it can be destabilizing. So the fact that, especially on this day, on Wednesday, or for part of the day, the moon is in a grounded earth signs, and then Saturn is also supporting it. And Saturn does provide like structure, foundation, strength, centering, a lot of these ST words. So it's really, that's going to be very helpful as we navigate this moon talking to Pluto. It also has a sextile to Neptune. So this does bring more intimacy and connection with our feelings and our intuition and our imagination, which is helpful when we're going into the deeper realms of our subconscious. Okay, so on Thursday, we have Moon. It is definitely talking to Pluto for most of the day, and it's fully in Aquarius. And Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn, so it tends to have more of a detached approach when dealing with emotions. More, let me just think it out or just observe it, and there's a little bit of an emotional separation when it comes to our feelings. Very interesting. But it is still very investigative in the fact that it is next to Pluto. Okay, so it's also trine the sun, so that is nice. There is more illumination, there is harmony here. A lot of what you've been experiencing in your body and your emotions and your thoughts around that, like they're connecting. It's making a lot of sense. There's harmony between the mind and the heart. So that's one of the beautiful things of a trine with the sun. It does have a square to Mars. Okay. And so here there could be a little bit of irritability and frustration that arises for whatever reason. It can also make you just a little bit more tense and easily triggered. Look, the fact that the moon is right next to Pluto and it's squaring Mars, you're going to have some feelings. Okay, you're going to have some feelings. You might have some explosive feelings. And so just know that leave room and leave space if something does erupt, basically. And let's not erupt on people. So find those healthy outlets, usually physical activity with this Mars in square with the moon. Physical activity will be a really great way to help diffuse that tense energy as well. Okay, so on Friday, we have Moon that is in trine with Mercury. Love this. So we're separating from Pluto quite a bit, right? We're on the other side of Aquarius. And Aquarius, as I mentioned earlier, has more of a detached approach, right? And when we see Mercury in an air sign and we have Moon in an air sign, like there's going to be a lot of discussion. There's a lot of conversations. So here, between these two air signs, like fairness, justice, equality is very important. So whatever you went through on Thursday or just this whole last like eclipse season in general, this would be actually a really great time to talk it out and make some sense and hear other people out. It's very diplomatic. Communication is really clear. It's very balanced. It's very respectful. So I like this collaborative type of energy that these planets are providing right now. So a lot of open dialogue, a lot of connection, even visioning and planning should be a lot easier now. We don't have a difficult conversation between the moon and the sun. And with all this air energy of Libra and Pluto with the luminaries and Mercury, this would be a good time to come up with some visions or some plans of how you want to move forward in something. So, any kind of writing, speaking, and negotiating, those kinds of activities and practices would fare well today. Okay, so that's Friday. And then on Saturday, we have Moon in Pisces. So now we are in a water sign, and this is a softer, more fluid, more intuitive, very feely type of sign. It does make us a bit more porous because we become more attuned to what's around us, the environment around us. Really wonderful for emotional connection and bonding and depth, amazing for creativity and imagination. So if you have any kind of artistic practice when moon's in Pisces, go for it. You're connected to so much that you can use that as powerful fuel for creativity. Like you'll get the words, you'll get the pictures, you'll get the colors, you'll get the textures, you'll get the design. Like it just comes through really nicely. And then with Saturn in Pisces now, because it is retrograded back, like there is a bit more form to it because Saturn is a very earthy, grounded, practical sign. We also have Moon that is trine to Mars. And remember, Mars is really strong here in Scorpio. So talk about having the energy and the drive and the motivation to do the art, right? To do it, or to utilize your intuition and act upon your intuition. If you've felt hesitant in something that is creative or something that is healing even, right? This is a good day to say yes and move forward. And it'll be easier to move forward as Mars is strengthening the moon here. Okay, let's see. Mercury is square Pluto, so that is one thing to keep in mind of. There's going to be positive things and difficult things when we're talking about square. It is more tense in nature, but I always look at squares as major growth opportunities. But what we'll see here with Mercury and Libra talking to Pluto in a square, all right, it's going to be digging. It's going to be investigating. It is going to want to get down to the truth of things. It is most likely not going to deal with fluff or fake, like it just can't tolerate that at all. So if you need to investigate in something or get clear understanding about something, you're going to have the mental strength, power, and bandwidth to do. So you're finding truth. You're looking for truth. And that's what a Mercury Pluto square wants. It will not deal with lies. It will also be very good for learning too. So if you're wanting to understand something very complex or want to understand the depth of something or the many layers of something, Mercury square Pluto will give you the capacity and the energy to do. Now, on Sunday, we have Moon that is in Pisces. Now it's closer to Saturn here, still in Pisces. And this again will give us, it's having two opposing energies in one. We've got the Pisces energy that is more fluid, right? That is more fluid, that is more creative, that is more intuitive and emotional. And then you have Saturn here that deals with discipline and structure and order and being realistic and taking time and working hard at something. In a way, all this together can make you very focused in your healing work or your creative work, for example, focused on your rituals that cultivate your intuition, to give you an idea. So we do have Moon opposite Venus, and this can give us some tension within relationships for sure. But with this Moon being near the North Node, like we're seeing a real pull towards exploring your spirituality, exploring your creativity, your imagination, and your intuition. That's going to be like a real heavy focus right now. And that may cause some conflict in terms of the needs of a partner, but at the same time, like you need to do what you need to do for yourself. So there's a little bit of a balancing act here. Just make sure, indeed, that you nurture and cultivate the things that I just talked about and not abandon all those things for a friend or a partner or for the other, for someone else. You can still obviously love someone else, but you really have to make room and time and space for all your Piscean things. And plus, Moon is in a really nice trine with Jupiter. And so Jupiter will bring that sense of positivity and optimism and growth, expansion, hope for the future. And that'll be a nice feature because Jupiter is really strong right now, and it's only going to strengthen our Moon. It's going to strengthen our emotions to feel really good about what is about to unfold in our lives and what's happening in the future. Okay, so that is our forecast. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Sorry about the voice, and I should be back on to usual schedule for next week. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share away so that others can receive this information. All right, bye. I help people discover their soul's natural design through astrology. To give an example, I have this client. Before her consultation, she felt very stuck and very unsure how to proceed forward with something. But after the consultation, she felt this light inside of her just reignite. So if you can't see your next steps clearly ahead of you, it's incredibly exhausting. It's draining. It's frustrating. And it makes it very hard to make decisions that are in alignment with your true essence. So in a 75-minute cosmic clarity consultation, I help to reveal these key indicators of your natural talents, your purpose, your advantages, your strengths, and putting that all together, you are going to have way more clarity moving forward. I have about 20 plus years of experience in elemental medicine. So the way that I interpret charts, it's very grounded and it's very practical in nature. So if you are ready to transform a confusion into clarity, go ahead and click the link down below to book your Cosmic Clarity consultation, where you get an in-depth reading all about you and how to move about in the world, as well as the recording that you can access for life.